Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. In the last video, I showed you that I discovered a village, and I showed you that I built a wall around the village, but a lot of things have changed since then. So we're going to show what I've done around the village to protect it from a raid. I've been preparing only for a raid, and that's all I've been doing for the last several days. So as you can see, I've planted trees. They're 2 by 2, the especially thick trees. I like it because I'm hoping that they provide some impedance for this rhinoceros that comes in the raid. I think its name in the game is called a Ravager or something like that, maybe a Reaver, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a rhinoceros looking creature in armor. And so I planted these 2 by 2 trees, thick trees, in hopes that they slow down the charge of this beast. I don't know if it will or not, but you can see I've planted them heavily, so there's only a few places of egress where you can walk in between the trees just to even approach the village. I wanted to make that as thick as possible to impede the progress of that beast, so it can't it can't easily destroy my crops and my livestock. So as you can see, I don't even know if it can knock down walls or fences, but I wanted to make sure that these trees were here blocking that creature, that beast. So as you can see, this side of the village is heavily fortified. Behind the trees, this was not here the last time. It's a crop field, and you can see it's looks like mostly potatoes, if I remember right. So plenty of potatoes to lure pigs and to make food for the villagers, and also for making baked potatoes for my own food. A small pen of sheep and cows. I'm not sure this was here either, but there's more potatoes, it looks like. And so let's go look around here. This structure was not here before. I built this because I needed more space. You'll see in a moment that the village has grown in size. It's approximately double the amount of villagers that it was before, in the teens, now into the 20s. So I had to get way more creative with the living spaces and add a lot more beds and professions. So you can see I have the walls in wood because at the time I ran out of stone, and I made the floor out of nether brick. Um, my own little adventure of adding color to my designs instead of so boring and ugly as they usually are. This I made a little irrigation system, and as you can see, another field of potatoes. So we have a lot of potatoes. As you can see, the baked potatoes here, and tons of wood for construction. So let's go up. And as I mentioned, I'm getting ready for raids. And so this tower I made is a battle tower, and I made it have a nice view of the area in case the mobs are coming. I can snipe them from a secondary position. And on the third floor, same idea, just giving me a better vantage point, greater view, and from safety. And of course, the top of the tower, where I've given myself an extra bow and more arrows, and a better view of the village and oncoming mobs, so I can snipe them from high. I apologize for my wolf, he's obscuring your view, but yeah, here you can see the better view I have, so I can see all enemies approaching from this way, so I can snipe them better from that height advantage. So we've seen my little outer village structure. Let's go into the village and see what some of the differences are. Oh, before I leave, let me go back over here. I did manage to wrangle 2 horses. One has leather armor and a saddle. Gold armor and saddle on this one. The interesting thing about Minecraft is that you can just about craft anything you need except saddles. For to get saddles to ride the horses, you have to find them, and they're usually in spawner rooms in their chests. And here's a little field of carrots that I made. And that sound you hear is a lava pool, which I placed here, and behind this section is a water pool. And again, these are to kill mobs and to slow down mobs, to impede them from finding a way around my outer defenses. I made this especially for them, and we'll get a view of that hopefully later. But let's go into the village now and see what I've created here. As you can see, I placed some lava rock here to hurt anyone trying to climb over this wall, or if they were on the wall to get down, they'd have to fall into the lava rock, or magma rock is what we call it, and it causes damage. So let's go inside, go on the outer wall, and now we have entered the village. So I created wheat crops, nice. And I built a tower inside the village because, as I said, the number of villagers grew by a double. So I made more beds for them here and composters because I needed farmers. I thought they would help with the crops. They don't really help that much. And then I made a bed for myself, a peephole for keeping an eye on approaching mobs. Two directions, and then rooftop access again to give me a good battle view and an overview in case somehow mobs make it inside the village. I can snipe them from here. So let's go down. This was here before, nothing has changed with that. I've fenced off a greater section, and you can see I've planted more magma rock over there next to the water so that mobs cannot make it across. I planted a 2x2 tree to impede progress, and you can see my new favorite, the sweet berries, which provide a nice solid barrier against entry and more magma rock. So this is heavily fortified, and if it wasn't heavily fortified enough, you also have the water here, which prevents free movement by the mobs, and this one solitary golem to protect this area. He likes to stand there, and he's kind of stuck by the water. So he's been doing a great job protecting from anything that gets through. So this dirt wall I built myself, and you can see I have little holes in the wall to allow for irrigation of some of the crop areas inside the village. So more wheat, nothing exciting here. Many more golems. The villagers love making golems to the excess. You can see where the villagers had this building itself, but I had to build on another room to add more rooms for beds. You can see, look how many villagers I have in this crazy village. So they're multiplying, they're breeding, I'm having to give them new beds and new jobs all the time. When I started, I think there was something like 12 or 10. Now there's easily 25, I would say, at least. So here's the add-on, secondary bed, and then, yes, a third bed. And there's a loom and a fletching table. And so, like I said, I had to add more beds and more jobs for these guys because they were just getting too many. This village is becoming overpopulated. And the more villagers you have, you know, the more liabilities that is, because when the raids start, you have to protect all of them. So eventually I'm going to have to lock them all into these rooms for their own protection. So 2 rooms, 2 chests for jobs. And I put up these pit fires, these campfires for illumination, and hoping this fend off mobs, and it's done pretty good. We don't have many monsters making it into the village in the evening, so I'm happy about that. 2 beds, 2 jobs, and the villagers are starting to retreat into their structures in the evening so they can sleep. I'm going to continue this village tour while the night descends on us. Here you see the village is already sleeping. There's a lectern there for a library and a composter for and another bed, but that's not a farmer. Or this is a leather. I'm sorry, this is a cauldron for a leather worker. So 2 jobs, 2 villagers. This one is going to be interesting. This originally was a room for myself, but the villagers took it over because there's just far too many of them. So I gave it to them and I added 3 beds. This one's open momentarily. Someone's sleeping somewhere else. So you can see 3 beds, 3 jobs. Armorer, I believe, or tool maker or something like that. And these crazy villagers, they love to make golems so much that they created one inside this underground room that I made. Don't ask me why they did. There's no threats here. And the golem cannot get in or out because the passageway is too narrow. But nevertheless, they've put one in here. This golem's pretty beat up. If I had any iron, I would fix him up. But he's pretty beat up. Probably not from fighting. He probably stepped on one of the campfires and damaged himself. Sleeping villagers, 2 beds. Nothing surprising there. Let's go on the roof. So if we go over this roof, there we can see another tower that I built because I wanted this side of the village to be protected from incoming mobs. So here we have another chest with a set of arrows just in case we get attacked. And it gives me a view of the surrounding area, so I can have a nice view in case I need to snipe them with a bow and arrow. And you can see there's not a lot of mobs out right now. That looks like a spider in the distance. And a great overview of how sprawling this village has become. And let's go down and take a look at the rest of it. I have to say that I enjoy this this village a lot because for the most part it is safe. We've had very few hostile visitors come in to interfere with us or attempt harm. So we've got a ton of golems who've been doing their job, and the fortifications that I've made seem to have been really working well to keep them out. So as you can see, the wall is still intact. This wall is still intact. No visitors, no threats come over the top. This fence has been here, but I did dig out 2 pits over there, maybe 3 pits over there, so if they fall in, they're stuck and they can't attack us. This wheat field. Fencing all around. That sound you hear is chickens. The chickens are especially valuable. I love them not only for the food and not for the eggs, but for the feathers, because you can make arrows from the feathers and flint and sticks. So you don't have to spend any emeralds to purchase them from the villagers. You can make your own arrows. Let's take a look from this side of the camp. So you can see I placed magma rock and a campfire there in case any mobs decide to fall in. They have a distance to compete with, and they also have to contend with those dangerous substances. If they fall or step on the magma rock, it hurts them. If they fall on the sweet berries, it hurts them. It looks like that creeper has fallen down in. And let's take a look. There he is, and he got hurt. You heard that. He got hurt from the magma rock. And wow, look at this. Look at this. The amount of mobs that's spawned. survive my fence. That's why I spent such a lot of time and effort protecting the area from moths. So it's good to know that my precautions are working. That's going to be a lot of rotten flesh for my dogs when they burn. I'm surprised that a golem hasn't come to kick their butt. So let's take a look over here. More sweet berries, in case anything can survive that fall or that fall. There's sweet berries there to keep them from getting to our fence. Again, rows of sweet berries. If they manage to survive the fall, they still have to get through those sweet berries. The wall is intact. The water is here to irrigate the crops. The fence is still intact, and I made the drop a little more treacherous so that even if they manage to get in, they'll be either dead or very weak. So that's it. Sorry, no fighting action this time, but coming soon. We'll make a little bit more action instead of you looking at my ugly village. And the last thing is the center of the village where I do all of my work is here. I made this little hut, 3 furnaces, chock full chest with lapis lazuli, redstone dust, tons of copper, iron, and coal. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I found another village and I'll take you to it in the next video.